Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this one we are going to learn a little bit about Amazon Missing Images or AMI and how to create one from your own images. Okay, so AMI, you can do a Google search on it, and if you just go through some of the options, some of the search results that you have got back, it's really AMI provides the information required to launch an instance. Okay, and you must specify an AMI when you launch an instance. Okay, so let's go to our Amazon, and what we want to do, we want to log in to our Amazon, and give me 1 second. Alright, so I don't want to join as the root account. So if you go to the root account, so you can join as your root account, but I have already told you that this is a big security risk, so I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna use I want to join as a IAM user. So let's pick that particular user and then hit next, and in here let's get the password, and I have, let's see, what is it? Your authentication information is incorrect, account ID, or so what we'll do in here, let's just provide our 12-digit account ID, and then let's see, let's try to sign in now. Okay, so now that worked. So now we need to provide a MFA code, and I have a Microsoft Authenticator. Let me go to that one. So in my phone I'm going to Microsoft Authenticator app, and what all you need to do is get the MFA code from that, and you just have to enter that one, and once you have that, you can sign in. So over here I'm going to provide 010129. Okay, 010129 and submit. There we go. So I'm now logged in. So once you are logged in, you can now doing stuff. So if you look at over here, this is not my root account, this is a Cloud Security Labs. Ohio is my primary region, by default region that is selected. So anything I deploy, it will automatically be deployed to this particular region. So let's go to EC2 and create one EC2 instance first. So that is your primary main compute resource. Everything, I mean, you gotta have to have some understanding of the EC2. So what we'll do, I'll go to the security group, and I'm gonna delete a couple of the security groups that I have here. Okay, and those were most likely got created as part of it's not letting me delete from here, so let's just open one of them. Let's see if actions delete is here. Delete security group, just get rid of that one, and I'm just gonna delete that one. So that's something else that you're learning, how to delete a security group. Alright, there you go. So that was the original default one. I'm just gonna keep that one, I'm not gonna mess with it. So the way you launch EC2 instance, okay, right now I have 0 running and I have no instances available at this time. So we'll click on the launch instance. There are multiple ways to click and get to the button, but pretty much you have to click the launch instance, and this is going to give you all of this a list. So this list is the AMI that we are talking about. Okay, so choose an Amazon missing image. So missing image usually like a combine, a pack of everything, like operating system, and if you are like want something in particular, so you will get everything in one package. If you want to install a Mac OS Big Sur, then you can do that over here. Mac OS Catalina, Mac Mojave 10.14.6, Red Hat. Now some of them are free tier, that is what we are gonna use because we don't want to spend too much money. Your my AMI, if you click on that link, I don't have any. This is what we're going to accomplish in this lab. We're going to create one AMI, but by the end of this lab, and I'll show you how to do that. You can go to marketplace. There are thousands, literally thousands of different type of AMI that's available. Anything you can think of. Splunk, backup recovery, they have so many, application development, so many, blockchain, ML solution, analytics, education and research, like tons and tons and tons of AMIs. So you can go to even like IoT is a new coming up, a very field that's getting diversified very quickly. So you have so many different images for that one as well. You can go to community. You can also get lots of AMIs from the community. So for this lab, what we'll do, we'll come back to the quick start, and since we only want to see the free tier, I'm going to click on this button to see only the freely available tiers, and let's just use maybe say let's just use Amazon AMI. So that's optimized for EC2, and it's based on Linux kernel 4.14, and that should do everything that we need to do. Select that one. Over here, choose an instance type. That one is automatically selected. I'm going to go with it, and this sizing, it has like a t-shirt type criteria over here. So bigger is your size, more stuff you get. Like T2 micro, you get only one vCPU, 1 gigs of memory. But if you go higher and higher, like large, then large. So same version, T3 is a third generation large, got higher number of CPU or the memory. And so if you go higher and higher, you will see like extra large got even more. But right now we are not interested on all those properties. We're just gonna select the T2.micro, which is free tier eligible, and you can really go through some other stuff in here. So network, we're gonna go with the default one, default network. I don't need to select, it's just gonna put it in any of these subnet, but if you want, so let's say default in US is 2, let's just select that one. Auto assign public IP, yes. Use subnet setting, enable. I just want one IP, so you can also use the IP. I don't need to really specify anything else in here. So let's see. Actually, you can even keep it like use subnet setting, so that will also automatically assign your IP address as well. Let's see, let's add storage. By default it's providing a storage of 8 gigs, no protection, no encryption. I don't like that. I'm just gonna add some protection in there. Then add, I don't need to add any tags at the moment. Configure security group. So security group name, maybe call it test, or do call it SSH and HTTP. Okay, what we'll do, we're gonna allow description as allow SSH and HTTP access. So right now, since Amazon knows that we are going to launch a TCP Linux instance, it's going to say, okay, let's open the port 22, but it's opening the port to everybody in the whole world. So let's change that to only keep it to my IP. If you just click that, it will pick up your own IP automatically. Okay, so that's very good. Now I'm gonna add another rule, and in this rule I'm just gonna use HTTP. Okay, so protocol TCP port run 80. Now this one I'm gonna keep it from anybody in the world. They should be able to get to my web server. But if you want to get onto the machine SSH, you have to come to me and use that particular IP address to get into that particular EC2 instance. So that's all I need. Now I'm gonna click launch, and then review and launch, and then review things. Looks good. Launch. And now I have to choose an existing pair, or I can create a new pair. I'm just gonna create a new pair of key. I'm gonna call it test AMI, and this is Amazon Linux. And you have to click on the download key pair before this button is turned on. Okay, so now I'm gonna save this one, and what we will do, we are gonna make sure that it's downloaded yeah, it's there. So we're gonna launch the instance. So while the instance is launching, we can go back to our EC2 view and go back to instances and and it's gonna tell you, oh, where is it? Where did it go? Okay, it's running. You select a running, so don't select the running. So now this is the instance that's it's now deploying. So click on this and actually go back one more time, and here let's add a name. Call it web server. Okay, so that is what we have done. So this web server is right now running. So let's see if it has assigned IP address. So yes, it did. So if you click and copy this IP address, okay, so that's and go over here to your browser, it should not be accessible, okay, because although we have opened the port 80, there is nothing running. We have not installed, we have not configured any server. So if I click on that one, it's nothing going on. You see that? And also usually your ping is disabled by default. So if you try to ping this particular server, you should not get any response either. So now we know those two things are working. So let's come back over here, and the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go over there and log into the machine. Now to do that, I'm gonna click on the connect button, and we got a chmod, and we're gonna use this key file. Now let's just go over here again, Control C. So we gotta go to cd to downloads. We gotta do a cd then downloads, and here let's see the file if I have it. sc2 aami.pem. This is the file, right? No, this is test AMI.AL. So where is my test? So test AMI.AL. So this is the file that we need. So what you do, this is because it's a key file, you typically move it to the .ssh folder in Linux environment. So this is my Linux Ubuntu 20. So what I'll try to do, move this test thing to it should be desktop, and then .ssh. Do I have the folder? I may not even have the folder, so let's just don't worry about it at this moment. We'll actually go back and just validate if I have that folder. ls.lh, where is that folder? .ssh is in here, so we should put it over here. So let's try that now. So we're gonna do move, then downloads, and then test to .ssh, and that's about it. So we're gonna moving this file to .ssh folder. So it's not mandatory, but that's what I would recommend. That's where all the keys should go. Hit enter, and then I'm gonna log in to the SSH folder and validate that I have the free key over here, right there. Okay, so the next thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change the permission and make it only read-only file. So click paste the command with a sudo, and there we go. So it should now only have 400 on that particular file. So if you look at this one, this is only the read access. Okay, everything else is turned off. So that means it's the permission is 400 because your read is 4. So at this time we can connect to that instance by copying this file and just SSH to that particular machine. And what it's doing, it's logging in and using this particular key file, and we're going to log in as the EC2 user. That is going to be the username, and this is going to be the instance. You can also use the IP address if you like. So hit enter and say yes, trust, and then right over here. So once we are here, let's see if we are connected to the internet. So let's try ping google.com, and we are, which is good. So next we are gonna do, this is let's see if it takes yum. So sudo yum update and see if it does. So no packages, so that's very good, everything is updated. So let's do sudo yum install httpd. So we're gonna install our httpd, say yes and hit enter. So it should install our httpd Apache. So let's see, where should it go? www folder. Well, before we do anything, let's also just start the service. So service httpd start, let's see, and failed to start, the name was not provided by any service file. httpd, so we need to figure out why that httpd service did not. We just start with sudo as well. Okay, sudo start, and it's redirecting to this. So if we have a service now, let's check the status as well. So instead of status, run the status. Now it's saying, okay, hey, everything is good, and the Apache server is now running. Okay, so let's see if anything looks crazy over here. Now everything looks pretty good. So if I come over here now and go to this site again, hit enter, let's see, and just using, because we didn't turn on the HTTPS, we turn on the HTTP. So you see the Apache folder page is now available. So what we have done, we have deployed Amazon machine image, but we have configured the Apache web server over here. So now if you don't want to repeat this task over and over again, if this is your standard web server configuration, you can make an AMI image of this. Like you can take a snapshot and then you would deploy your virtual machine using this snapshot. Okay, so you don't have to do these steps anymore. So let's see how to do that. Alright, to get a snapshot of our machine image, we'll come back over here, go back to our instances. Okay, now this is the instance that is running. So let's see, how do I do that? If I click over here and then click on actions, let's see if it lets me do from here, create image, create template from instance, and launch, more like this. So we can definitely create an image from right here just by clicking on the button. So let me just go inside this and also look at over here and see if there's any other way to do this one. But note that my instance is still running. So if I click create an instance, it is going to create the instance like at that very moment that it's running. Okay, so let's just come back over here one more time and review your select this one, then go back to actions and images and template and just see what happens. Create image, image name, so they say web server, say 2, and anything else I do not really need. So it's saying during the image creation process, Amazon EC2 creates a snapshot of each of the above volumes. So that volume will automatically be created as well. I don't need anything else. So let's come back over here, hit create image. So let's see what's happening. So now the image creation process is done. It's a successfully created AMI, Amazon machine image. So that's what I told you at the very beginning, that by the end of this particular lesson we will have one AMI created for us. So if you now go back to the instances again, okay, or the EC2 dashboard again, and now what we want to do, we want to go to launch instances, launch instance. Now my AMI, if I go there, it's still not here. So it's probably it's going on. Let's see, share with me, owned by me. It's still not showing. So let me go back over here, see what is going on. we didn't click on that image, so let's see, snapshots, volume, security groups, instances is one, that is what is running, and we have already taken a snapshot. Alright, so I found it where it created. So you gotta come down under the images, then inside the AMIs, and so this is its status is still pending, and that is probably the reason why you don't have it yet. When we tried to launch a new EC2 instance, it didn't show up. But this is getting generated, right? This is one image that is getting generated, and as soon as this status is okay, this image should be available to us for our own use. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm just going to give it a minute so to make sure that this status is completely done, and once that's done, we are going to launch one virtual machine, and we will go to the IP address and make sure that our web server is now running. Now that server will run and serve the web host or serve the website as long as your security groups, they're also configured properly, and you have given access to port 80, and anybody can access to that one. So we'll check that one quickly before we end the video. Now let me pause that one and wait for this to get done. Alright, now the image creation is now done. So if you come over here again, I'll show you how to get there. So if you go back to, maybe you are lost, you are doing something, get back to your EC2 instances, and then over here under images you have AMI, so that's gonna list the images that you have created. So there we go. So web server, and this is now visibility private, but the status is now available. So here what we can do, let me just go back to our instances and then click on launch instances one more time, and let me go to my AMI, and there we go. So now you have the AMI that you can use to launch your virtual machine. So I have selected that AMI, and I'm gonna use everything else, and I'm just gonna actually go to the next one. Under the default subnet, I'm just gonna place it in the same subnet, and everything else I'm gonna click keep it the same, and then just to configure security groups. The security group is here is not configured. Again, I'm gonna customize this to my IP on this one. Security group rule, custom security group. Let's go to HTTP. What is my HTTP? There we go, and that looks good. Then review and launch, and again this time let's just use the key pair that I already have. So choose existing key pair, and I'm gonna use the test AMI AL, and acknowledge that you have access to the private key file, and then launch the instance, and then give it a minute. Let's see, go back, then come back over here, and again instances, go back, and that instance get rid of the running one, so you can see all of the instances. So the next one is the web server 2, so again you can click on that one and just call it web server 2. That is what we are now, it says running. So let's just get the IP address, and if we did everything right, so as soon as I go to the IP address, I should see another site just like that, right? So get rid of this, come back over here, paste the IP, hit enter, and it's still not there. So one thing is possible that in that instance we have not started the HTTPD service, so let's just check that one out. So what we want to do, let's come back over here, open this one up, go to the security one more time, make sure that everything is open. That looks good. So go back over here, instances running, okay, connect Okay, before I do that, do one more time. It's still not there. Okay, so come back over here, copy this and stay over here under the SSH folder. Let's get there. Say yes, get inside the machine. Please logging as the EC2 user rather than the user root. Okay, so let's see what was. It says EC2 user. Let's try EC2 user, see what happens. So EC2-user. Alright, let's see what happens now. So now I'm logged into the machine. Okay, so now first thing I'm going to check sudo service httpd status. Okay, so that is not running, so all I need to do is start that one, and now it should be running. So what we could have done when we are deploying, we could have passed this start the HTTP service. So that's the only thing we could have passed, and that should have taken care of this problem. And now we have started this service. If I now go there, now you have it. So this thing that I skipped in this then is the installation of your web server. The only thing we did here is starting up the web server, starting up the service. So that's about it. So I mean, you can improve the process as long as you understand what to do. So let's go back over here and kind of review what we have done. So we learned about Amazon Machine Images, which is just a package, and the images for you have available, AMIs available for the Windows, Linux, anything that you can think of. There are thousands from the marketplace and thousands from the communities. You can create your own instance. The way you configure your server, you can take one copy, and that's the way actually you would be creating maybe a load balancer. Now you can place in front of those two web servers that we have now running. So web server 1 and web server 2, right? So we can now place one load balancer in front of them, because we know that they have the exact same copies of files and everything, right? So we can place it in front of them. In those two, we can place a web server, load balancer, and we can distribute the traffic. So we have learned how to create. So you just went in there and we selected one of these machines that were running, went to actions, then images and templates, and we created an image from that particular machine that was running. So that's all I wanted to cover in this particular video. So hope you have learned how to create Amazon Machine Images and how to use it to launch new instances. Thanks for watching. Happy learning AWS.